Welcome to episode 7 of Traps No Glory. What?
Hold up 2 fingers. I always hold my fingers up.
Do you?
Yeah.
I can't.
Yes, you can. That hand's free. You do it number 2. I got 5. You do 2. 7.
Okay.
Episode 7.
We'll go back again.
No
Ready?
Traps, No
Okay. What? He's like, God damn it, all this editing I have to do. Welcome to episode 7. No Traps, No Glory. This is Viviana Podolsky of Everyday Lifters. Today we have Danny
Me.
Casey. I'm going to be interviewing him today.
That's exciting.
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
You are pretty good.
Oh, thanks.
You're
Thanks.
welcome.
Do you see,
I know.
he'd like to mention the sun on his face, that it's just glistening and it's looking beautiful.
It's going to bring features out
What do you guys think?
for all the listeners on SoundCloud. They're just going to imagine a godlike figure.
Well, they're going to have to go to YouTube then and subscribe so they don't miss these.
No, you can't. Subscribe on our YouTube page, NY Weightlifting Academy at youtube.com.
All right, so we're going to get right into it. So, .com?
I don't think it's like that. But subscribe to our YouTube page, New York Weightlifting, NY Weightlifting Academy.
So I just today listened to episode 6.
Okay.
If you guys missed it, episode 6, Danny he discusses goals, which with the new year coming up, 2019. You guys need to go listen to it because it'll really help you out.
Oh, thank you.
So before because I have a whole list of questions here for him about the American
She's
Open
got a
final.
big notebook again. The size of that thing.
I want to just touch on really quick.
Okay.
That you had talked about the word sacrifice.
Yes.
And I love that you said that you had talked about how that because the word sacrifice to you really, there's a negative meaning to it, but for the work that you've had to do, it didn't feel like that.
Correct.
And I always get, because I'm a mom and I always get like, oh, how do you do like life-work balance? Like, how do you balance life? And I hate that saying. I hate that word, like, oh, how do you balance life?
Yeah.
Because like when I'm away for work, I can't attend to my family. So at that time, work for me is 100%, it's taken up 100% of my time. And I'm very okay with that. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you brought that up about the sacrifice and that it's not really sacrifice for
thank you.
everything that you've done. So.
Yeah, I don't know when people say balance life. How do you balance life? I mean, you live life and that's it.
Well,
you just do.
There's people that say that like to live a good life, you should live like it's 50-50. So 50 for family, 50 for your job. But I don't think that pertains to people that own a business, because there are times within the year that you can't do that. That maybe 90% of your time has to go to your business during a certain time. And then when it's family time, then it's 100% of your time with your family. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. It makes perfect sense to me.
It's just added stress for people. So anyway,
I'm glad it resonated to you for that.
It was good.
That was at least what I was hoping. I mean, you and I are in a good position because we're lucky enough to do something, or at least be involved in something that, one, it's our own creation, but two, it's not a job. It's just our life. We do. It's hobby, it's passion, it's work, but a challenge that we embrace. So whatever someone enjoys doing outside of a 9-to-5 job, or I guess something that they're indebted to sustain their livelihood. I mean, it may not be something that they enjoy. We enjoy it, so we can invest full amounts of time into it, and it's a different perspective. It's a lot harder, definitely a lot harder, and I think most people, you probably would agree, most people don't understand what that's even like. But it's worth every bit.
I agree. And you had mentioned about the part of selfishness, because that also has a negative meaning to it too, that you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get into it. It's because you guys are going to go back and you're going to watch it or listen to it. Yeah.
We're going to have this might be a multi-part series, but no, if I can touch on that too. I think the good thing, especially in the long run, you and I have had discussions about this before, is that being like that also weeds out people in your life.
Yes.
Much more than you ever would have realized, between those who are truly supportive and those who are truly friends, and those who are really just there ephemerally or for the circumstance.
I know for me, until I was sort of I don't know how to explain it. So like, I think when I was at my job, like my teacher job, I was sort of living in this bubble. And then once I started my company and I started experiencing what it was like to have a company, to have a job that you so much enjoy, I was almost like taken out of this bubble, and I got to see like, oh my gosh, I was surrounding myself with these people that are just bringing me down, and I've had to like cut ties with them.
No, even when I worked in a school like that, for the most part, there's one person I still keep in good contact with, and he's a great guy, but for the most part, it's a superficial world. Everybody's miserable. I don't know if they enjoy any aspect of their life, but when you're in that circle and you're in agreement with them, you're in. But then once you aberrate from that, you're out. They cut you out. They don't want anything to do with you. They look at you much differently.
Yeah, they sure do.
Yeah. And yet they're teaching the youths of America.
Yeah, not all teachers are terrible.
Not all.
That could be a different...
90%. 90%.
You think so?
I think it's that high.
Really?
Yeah. There's some really good people. There's some really good people. But for those who are like actual people that actually seem to care, are those who, as opposed to those who are just, I don't know how to nicely say it, but just not nice people, miserable, wretched wretches.
They're finding that there was a study that just came out recently. I guess there's now a shortage of teachers, and veteran teachers are starting to now leave. Like the good, like teachers that should be staying, they're leaving because they can't. Anyway.
I mean, not to get too far off topic, that's just that's going further into the governmental aspect and what's promulgated from up top coming into it. It's not what it was, at least I'm sure when you started.
No.
So much different. But this is all neither here nor there.
So, a little off topic.
A little bit. It's okay. It's good stuff. I'm sure a lot of people can resonate to that.
All right. So American Open Finals was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, December 6th, December 9th.
So I was there.
Yes, I know. That's why I'm here to interview you. I want to know. You can't peek at my questions.
I'm not. I can't see that really.
Okay. Can you just a little background of what the American Open Final is, just for folks that are just getting into weightlifting? Because I think people are confused. They think that the American Open Series has been around for a long time, and just a little bit of, to people out there that are just getting into weightlifting. Okay.
Well, the American Open is a national competition. But unlike national championships, if I say this correctly or remember correctly, that I believe anybody is eligible to participate. So you don't have to be a U.S. citizen to participate in the American Open, hence why it's called the Open. But it's a larger national competition, and it used to be held just singularly by itself in December every year. But now, I guess, when did they start? 2 years ago, was it?
I think so.
Yeah, I think 2 years ago, they broke it down into an element of series. So there's three competitions leading up to the final in December, and each one they have increasing totals, and those who qualify or compete at, let's say, the different series events, whatever their finish is, can also include them to competing in the final event series, or the series conclusion rather. So it's kind of cool how they work it like that. It gives people a feel for those who normally, or let's say, wouldn't be qualifying and competing on a national stage, the ability to compete at a national-like meet. It's a great revenue generator, to say the least, for USA Weightlifting. And yeah, that's what it is.
Was there a big turnout this year?
For which one?
American Open Final? Yeah.
I would say it was a mild turnout because a lot of larger lifters they had just competed world championships, so you didn't really see too many of them. But it was at least I would assume it to be a good turnout. Okay. I'm not sure what the total number was of attendees, but it was good.
Okay. And just a little bit about why you were there. So who were you there to...
Okay. Well, I had two people that I was coaching. One, Steve F. Carpitas. He's originally from Queens, but he moved down to Miami, and he just stayed down there and been training. And we visited him in his gym, Fernando and Horacio. So he's been training down there, and he asked me actually like many years ago to help coach him at competitions and such, and I said yes. And he qualified for this meet, so he asked me to go, and of course, it's like, all right, absolutely. I told you I would, so I went with him. Also, too, we have a lifter who's stationed out in Texas right now with the Army. He was going to go there and compete, but as the weather would have it, there was a big storm that came across the whole southern portion of the states. I think it was like basically the entire South. I think like Texas all the way down below, big ice storm. So unfortunately, he never made it out. But Steve and I were there, and Steve competed.
Yeah, there were a lot of weightlifters. They either missed their flight or it was delayed or something.
Jordan's was completely canceled. Yeah. It was delayed, and then they finally canceled it. And I believe he had to actually stay at the airport for the evening because he couldn't even get back.
That's terrible.
I know. They need salt.
So what I want to do is just kind of ask you just a lot of random questions here.
Sure.
Don't let me forget about Lou, because you did get to help him out, right, with a lifter there. What's his last name?
DeMarco.
DeMarco. I want to just jump right into choosing attempts for weightlifters. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because many times at the American Open Series, this is also, I think, a good opportunity for coaches that if they've never been to a bigger meet, to be able to go in, bring an athlete, and kind of get a feel of what it's like to coach. And I think most often coaches, I mean, you correct me because I'm not a coach, but from my observations, I've seen that coaches have always underestimated the skill in counting cards. Because it's a fucking nightmare. Can I say that?
You can. We are unrestricted. Yes.
And that's the one thing that irritates me because I've seen people miss their lifts or they've messed up their athlete because they don't know how to count cards correctly. And I'm sitting there watching the screen and I'm like, how are they not getting this? And it's because I think it's so much different than a local meet. So can you just kind of talk a bit about that?
Well, and the good thing, I mean, this actually goes right into Lou. Mark always says that Lou's one of the best card counters in the country. And I said that to Lou, and Lou laughed. He's like, oh, well, I hope I don't mess up on this one. But it was nice to get to work with him, actually. So the reason just to backtrack a little bit, the reason that I was going to help Lou out or / work with Lou is because he had a lifter that was in the same exact session that Jordan was going to be in. So they were lifting about relatively the same. So Lou helped Jordan out before, I think 2 years ago when he competed at the Open. So he was going to help him out, and then I figure I could learn something from it since Lou's supposed to be so good. But I tell you, just like watching Lou work, and all I did was load, really, just load and hang out, and that was about it. But the guy knows how to make attempts work. The lifter that he had was spot on when he went to open up.
So he knew exactly what
Lou knows what to do. Yeah, he's done it long enough, but he's got his little notepad, and he writes down how he wants to do it. And it looks like everything is, I think he spaced it like 2 minutes or so apart. But his warm-up attempts were perfect right into the opener. But contrastingly to to a local meet, like, let's say if I'm going to lift, I'm going to open at 115. There may only be one other person that's opening at 115, but nationally you have 4 or 5 guys opening at that, or maybe that's also, let's say, another 3 guys that's going to be their second attempt. So for Steve's example, he opened at 110, made his opener, and then he had about, I think, 8 or 9 attempts between what was going to be his second attempt. So I mean, you have let's say 8 or 9 lifters between there. If one misses, that's even more time. So it's something you have to be a little bit more prepared for, because then, I mean, you can't just sit there for 9 minutes and wait till you go. He has to take a couple extra attempts in the back to keep him moving, and then he can go out. But compared to how it was years ago, the format's a little easier now. So I guess they just maybe started this year, really. The cards are fixed on the table, but they have a screen with everyone in order. And I think that's much easier to read, because instead of going to the table, having to look at every card and try to get a feel, the screen makes it a little bit easier. But as you're saying, I don't really know. I don't know how, I mean, it's, I think, relatively foolproof. No, it's not. I don't know how you can mess it up, to be honest with you. I mean, if you look and see how many attempts there are, you know the time allotted beforehand. It's just figuring the number of attempts that you have, that you want your athlete to take, and then the time beforehand.
I think for you, because I think it sort of comes, I don't know if it's like it comes naturally to you, or you've been doing it for as long as you have, that it's just like...
I mean, I am great at everything.
Good Lord. Is it time for a break? No. No, I'm kidding. You said something about, like, okay, when your lifter had whatever it was, a 9-10 minute break in between. What did you have him do during that time?
He just did 2 power snatches with 100 between.
Right. Okay. So what I've seen some coaches do, and really it could be just maybe that's what their athlete is used to, and they're okay and they don't want them to go. But I've seen people waiting maybe 10, 12 minutes, but they're sitting. So what happens when you go to the platform? Your body's cold. And you can totally see it when they go and they make an attempt and they miss it. So those are the things that I wonder if coaches know what to do, like, or to even, like, I think they're afraid to pull their lifter like from the sitting area. So they just leave them there.
Oh, that's weird. I wonder why. Hey, you got to do it. You got to keep them moving, otherwise they'll fall asleep and then miss an attempt.
And then as far as, because there's a whole lot here. Were there any pet peeves it doesn't have to be from the American Open final, but even when you competed, because it's different than a local meet, was there anything that really just like got under your skin?
At the Open?
At the Open, or like the bigger meet that you had competed in Valley Forge?
In the series? Well, the Open I thought was nice because, as opposed to the I think it was the second of the series when I did that. The second, it was just like, it was a free-for-all. The warm-up area, there were more people in the warm-up area than there were watching. So I mean, how can you're trying to warm up when you have just lines of people walking past you, and it was just completely unregulated. But in Milwaukee, it was great. Everything was blocked off. They had someone checking if the people were allowed into that session.
Great.
Yeah, it was very regulated.
Okay.
I don't understand why they all aren't like that. I mean, I guess maybe
I think it's the volunteers, how many people they have on staff.
But they only have one person. If you block off an area and just have one
they'll
person
sneak in.
regulating,
There's some people who sneak
you just
in.
got to enforce them, just
Yeah.
kick them out, or lifters and coaches should kick them out, because it just is, when it's wide open like that and in a very limited area, it makes it very difficult to be able to. I mean, it becomes a safety concern first and foremost. I mean, when you're lifting on the platform and literally 1 foot from where you're lifting is someone with their back turned because they're just hanging out talking to their friend when they don't need to be there, that just makes it precarious for everybody.
Yeah, like sometimes people will come in and there's on a platform and there's like 3 or 4 friends. There's the boyfriend, there's the girlfriend.
Yeah, everyone's videoing, everyone's got the phone out. Steve actually asked me about that's another pet peeve I have, people videoing and taking film. And Steve was like, "Can you do me a favor and record my lifts?" And I was like, "No, I'm coaching. I'm not here to record your lifts. I'm here to watch you and work for you. I'm not going to stand there like this." Because I was like, that's not coaching then. That's me just, I don't know. That was a pet peeve. That's one thing that annoys me. Everyone's got to videotape everything that everybody does. It'll be video. Just make the lifts.
I agree. Yeah. No, I agree.
That's what you're there for. You're
Yes.
videoing and recording everything, and you're doing a much better job than someone with an iPhone.
I want to just ask you about, well, any advice for any new coaches that are going in to compete, or sorry, that are going to coach at, let's say, the American Open Series or final?
Any coach?
So advice for them in terms of coaching, if they've never have brought an athlete.
Well, I mean, you have to find someone who you can learn from, but I mean, you have to get the experience too. But that's I'm trying to think how I could phrase it. You have to learn from somebody. And honestly, you have to compete to know. I think if you're going to be coaching someone, you have to compete, because it's just, you have to know what it feels like to be a lifter, what it's like to wait, what it's like to the emotion, the adrenaline, downtime, what it's like to be on the platform, so you can sympathize and recognize what someone's going through at the same time, and how to be able to communicate with them, because I think there are a lot of people who haven't competed that are coaches, and I just don't understand how you could really effectively do both. Just because it's one thing to be guiding someone and counting their attempts to it, but there's such a psychological component behind it that's so vital, to where you have to know essentially how to be able to try to work the psyche of someone with the attempts as well. So I'd say that's one thing that you have to do. If you haven't competed, or you're a coach and you're not competing, then you're never going to be a fully functional or effective coach. And then at a big meet like that, again, just find someone that you can learn from. Even go in volunteer to somebody who's at least you trust, or is a little bit more recognized, who's done it before, that you can get an idea of, okay, I see how this works. So that way you're just not going into something blind, because the last thing you want to do is take a new lifter, or as a newer coach, take a new lifter into a competition and try to figure it out when they're supposed to be doing their best, and it's supposed to be a very big time. Because I mean, the amount of people do that usually bomb out. They have a horrible experience, and no one wants to watch. First, no one wants to experience on the platform a horrible experience, and no one wants to watch someone having a horrible experience. Everyone, for the most, people go to weightlifting meet to watch people do well. No one goes there to look for bomb outs. So if you see someone having good meet and looking good, it creates a good experience, more momentum for them in their training. They become more motivated, and it's in the long run helpful, because then it shows as a lifter, you're motivated and you want to do more, and then as a coach, it shows that this guy's not an idiot. He can actually guide someone a little bit through what he's doing, as opposed to just, come on, let's do this. You could do this, and know how to read your athlete, or being panicked because all of a sudden, like let's say for example, in Steve's session, there was one guy in the snatch attempts who he took an opening snatch, but then he dropped out. So so it changed the whole dynamic of his warm-up. Had his warm-up plan figured out, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. So we had to cut. I mean, luckily it was at lighter weights, and there was like 1 or 2 other people ahead of him, but had to drop down cut out at least 2 or 3 warm-up attempts that he was going to have, because this guy pulled out. So these are things that you have to be prepared for and know about. And again, that all goes into creating good experience, and once I told Steve that, I mean, it still worked out fine. He was calm with everything. He wasn't panicked as to being like, oh no, oh God, you're opening with 100, but you're still at 60, and you have one attempt before you're on the platform. For a new lifter and a new coach, that's like terrifying.
No, it is, yeah. And that's what I was sort of trying to get at, because that's the kind of stuff.
Hopefully I wasn't too long-winded with that, but I'm trying to think how I could really accurately phrase that.
But that I was trying to, in these competitions that I've been in, this is what I've sort of seen, and it's too bad, because with the competitions like the final, it's expensive to go.
Absolutely.
There's the hotel, there's the flight.
Hotel,
right.
Yeah,
it's not
food.
A local meet.
No.
So anyway,
you can't get away with and that's a good point too with that, is that you don't want to go to a meet like that and then try to figure things out and experiment and be like, oh, well, that wasn't a good experience for us, after you have to spend that much and travel halfway around the country. It's like, if you're going to go to that extent, go there and really do a good job with it.
That's well said.
Thank you. I try.
And then as far as, because when was the meet that you guys just did, the Nick Curry, was that last week?
That was last weekend,
okay.
Yeah.
Just really quickly, can you just kind of tell me how you go about choosing attempts for your lifters, for a local meet? How do you go about choosing their attempts? And then what does training look like for a week or two prior?
Let's see. To answer the second first, training a week or so prior, I don't really know how to answer that. I'm going to say it's essentially based upon what they have been doing, and the lifts that I've been continuing. I mean, I really don't know how to answer that, because
you don't make them go heavy, or
it's always different. I mean, let's say 2 weeks prior is the last week you really go heavy, and then the week before you'll do lighter versions. But it depends on what we do and when someone's going. It's all timing, and when based upon, so let's say some people went heavy 2 weeks prior, but then some people even kept building up heavier and heavier into the week before. So it's based upon, let's say, where someone is at in their training, or if they had an injury, or timing it to where when they go to the meet that you can at least work your heaviest, or work heavy, recover, and then go back to working heavy in the meet again. So that, I think, is a little bit more difficult, and I'm sure like our venerable producer would know from his previous competitions that every lead up that he's done has been, correct me if I'm wrong, different from one to the next.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of feeling where everyone's at and knowing where they're at. So let's say in that, going into the attempts that they're going to be making, it's whatever, I'll work them to a certain number in training, whatever they could do for, let's say, X number of reps, or what they look good at in training. Then I'll have them do that in the meet, and if they look good in the meet, maybe I could put them a little higher, or if they look like death, then drop them down. So, but see, that's the thing too. It's like a lot of times people go to these meets or go to the open where, okay, I got these set numbers, I'm going to do these set numbers, but then especially flying halfway across the country, sleeping somewhere else, and then all of a sudden you can't even make like 2 or 3 warm-up attempts prior what you've been doing in training, what you're looking to open with. You can't. I wouldn't have anyone open with that. You got to have them open. Ultimately, I want my lifters to be successful. So to be successful, you can't just be so rigid to where they did this. You should be able to do this. It doesn't matter what you're able. It matters what you're doing at that point in time. So that's how I'll choose attempts, and then based upon how they look, adjust accordingly from there what they move up to.
Perfect.
Some people push harder. Some people you got to be delicate with. So.
Thanks, Danny.
You got to know your athletes.
No, well, yeah. And I think you also had said, it also helps that you're a lifter yourself. So
yeah.
Then you kind of understand what we're going through versus someone that's come into the sport and they've never competed or even lifted.
Yeah, it's true. It makes a big difference.
All right, I just have 2 more questions for you, and then we're going to do something fun.
Okay. I like fun things. Let's play Monopoly. I love that game when I was a kid.
No, we're not playing Monopoly.
I'd buy everything. Even what was the one that was the cheapest one to buy?
You need to stay on track.
Yeah, no, but you know the one that's, I'd buy that right away. Whatever I landed on, I'd land on and buy it, and then it was Baltic Avenue?
Well, it was the second, but yeah.
Yeah, I would buy the cheapest. Mediterranean. I'd buy that. No one wanted it because it was like $100. I'm like, I'm buying it. And then people land on it. All of a sudden, cash starts coming in. Buying this. The key to Monopoly is buy everything. Don't hold on the cash.
No, the key is to buy houses and never buy hotels, and shoot up all the houses and no one can get any hotels.
Exactly. See, it's capitalism.
All right, so these meets, obviously, they've grown over the years.
They have.
Big time.
As have I.
All right. People have mixed feelings about this. What are your feelings about like the meets? About like the meets being bigger now, and like the Arnold last year was like almost 1,000 weightlifters.
Yeah.
What's your feeling on it?
It's good. You need it.
Okay.
I mean, if People want to compete. People want to go to these events, and they're willing to do so, and they pay to do so. So it's a good source of revenue for U.S. weightlifting, and it'll only help the lifters in the higher tier. And it helps the organization very much. So I think that's a good thing. The bad thing is that, like I said earlier, is that you need to have, at least like at the one in Philly, you just need to have more regulation and designation. So let's say like when I went and coached Kelsey up in Canada, it was a local meet. It was like held inside of this place called, I call it Value Village, but it's the Variety Village. It's like, I guess like maybe a college style gym where they have a track and then basketball court on the inside, like one of those type of things. So the meet was held on the inside of the track, and there are people outside exercising and do whatever they do. But even for me to be there, I had to, for me to coach her, they had to have credentials. So I was the only one allowed in the back.
Okay.
And this is a local meet. I was the only one allowed in the back with her, or if there was going to be another coach, they'd have to get a credential. Someone was monitoring that. All the officials were. Every official, anyone involved with organizing the meet, were wearing at least the blazer of the federation, so everyone looked organized, and even the loaders were wearing corresponding T-shirts. So if you could do it at a local meet, I don't know why you couldn't do it at a larger meet, to where you have a little bit more authority regulating where people are going and what they're doing. Like they did in Milwaukee, which was nice. So I think those are some of just maybe the organizational and logistical things they need to get down a little bit better. But for the most part, I think it's good. People want to do it, so let them do it. Give them opportunity to. Yeah, it is growing, and it gives people a better feel.
Someone once told me at a local meet, this was years ago.
Okay.
Because I know you had mentioned that at the Nick Curry meet, someone had made a comment about the team and how well. What was it that they had said that they?
He just said how good everyone looked.
Okay.
This is someone that I've known him for years, but I only would see him. He was part of Team New Jersey, or is part of Team New Jersey. Sorry. And just we're catching up for a bit, but haven't seen him. He doesn't know really what I working with everybody and people at the gym. But then after he saw the girls lift, he was like came over and shook my hand and was really impressed that he was saying everyone looked very good. I mean, they're very polished, very deliberate with everything that they do, and they essentially stood out from all the other lifters there. So he wanted to say just nice job to everybody who did that.
So the reason I'm bringing this up, because those are all great things. I had someone actually ask me, why are we so serious at a local meet? No one's going to the Olympics. So what would be your response to someone that says something like that? Like, why are we, because even here in the gym and training, we come in and people are doing their own thing and no one really is chit-chatting or talking. Or why do you have an atmosphere of that here? And why do you teach us that as weightlifters, even if we're not going to the Olympics?
Well, why do you come here?
For me?
Yeah, why do you come here?
To train. For
Why?
me.
There you go. That's the answer.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
You're doing it for you. The Olympics doesn't matter. The world champion, none of that matters. You come here for you. So if you're going to do it for you, why would you not take it serious?
I agree. Yeah.
That's my answer. If it's you're wanting to work at something and ultimately you're working at it for yourself. It doesn't matter how far you go, how far you don't go, but you're working at it for the betterment of yourself and control and command of yourself and to develop yourself and willing to put yourself through certain difficulties, hardships, trials in order to achieve something and be better. And this kind of goes actually back to the last podcast I did. So if that's going to be the case, if you're going to be just laughing around, joking around, goofing around, you're not taking what you're doing serious, and that means you're not taking yourself serious. So if you want to achieve something and you're not going to put that level of intensity towards it, you'll never achieve it. So if for those who do that and those who come here, it's something. Ultimately it's all for you, and it's to give you the respect of being the person that you are to achieve what you want to achieve and give you the opportunity to, which is why we're that serious.
I like it.
Thank you.
So that's pretty much it for the weightlifting.
Okay.
So we kind of got to know Danny as the coach and really as like your
mindset.
Your mindset.
Okay.
I can't think of the word. I'm a little tired, guys.
It's okay. What were you doing? You up late?
Well.
Whoa.
No.
Okay.
A dog was barking.
My turn to interview.
Well, with weightlifting, it I think a lot that you do here in weightlifting can apply to outside life as well.
It does. The weightlifting's a microcosm for outside life. Now, Mr. Smith and I, our venerable producer, have discussed this before. It's just you need organization, you need management, you need mental control, physical control, and that applies to the greater scheme of everything that you do. So what you do in here is a direct reflection of how you conduct, like I said, how you conduct yourself on the platform is a reflection of how you are in the world. If you're all over the place, you're all over the place. If you're focused, you're focused.
Have you had any athletes that have told you that weightlifting has changed their lives for the better? And even if it was minor, maybe that they found themselves like...
Offhand, I can't recall, but I'm sure indirectly, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I'd like to think so.
Mr. Smith is raising his hand.
Yeah, see, there you go. But I mean, you're one of them. I mean, it's changed your life tremendously. I mean, who was I talking to? I was talking to someone about this the other day. I can't remember who it was, but excuse me. Sorry.
I can't even.
I had to burp. I'm sorry.
At least it wasn't in my face.
I know.
You guys missed it, but he was like, bah.
Yeah, that is the breath of the dragon. Bruce Lee coming out. No, we're talking about it. And like, honestly, if I stayed teaching, I wouldn't have friends all around the world. I wouldn't have gone places. I wouldn't have done anything.
Weightlifting has done that for you.
It has. It has.
So
weightlifting changes lives.
I think it does.
I think I even save people from doing drugs and going on the street just by having them lift.
Well, that's...
Because I realized that, you know what, I should rather lift. I hate my job, but I'm not going to do coke. And then they stay on weightlifting, and then they're saved.
We sort of, we laugh at it, but there are there are youth groups or nonprofit organizations that are bringing kids to lift to keep them off the streets.
We actually tried to do that. Remember when we tried to do that?
Yes, we did. Yeah, it didn't work out so well.
Well, they didn't have the interest in it. I mean, you got to generate more, or they got to be forced into it. But I spilled tea all over you. That was funny.
Oh my God, guys. That was terrible.
She was in the passenger seat of Ross's car, and I thought it'd be funny to just, or no, she was in the back, like in the back.
I had a hot
I was
tea
in the passenger
from Starbucks.
seat. I didn't realize she had tea, but I thought it'd be funny to
recline
the seat. Yeah, recline the seat to slam into her. But
and I had like raspberry tea all over my brand new coat.
Yeah, I like your tweed coat, your tweed blazer.
It's keeping me warm.
Yeah, it's not that cold in here. It's a thermal.
It's cold.
It's the New York Weightlifting Academy thermal that's keeping you warm, which are on sale, by the way. So if it's going to be after Christmas by the time you probably hear this. But nonetheless, post-Christmas gifts, New York Weightlifting Academy thermal would be outstanding.
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day's coming up. No better way to say you love somebody than with New York Weightlifting Academy thermal.
And if your boyfriend or girlfriend is coming to a meet and they don't weightlift, have them wear a sweatshirt.
You know, they need it. Yeah, they need a thermal or a sweatshirt because there's no better way to say I love you than representing and supporting what you do.
All right. So back to
enough whoring.
Never.
So now that we kind of you've talked a little bit about who you are as a coach. But you sort of live a private life, and that's very okay.
Don't we all?
Yeah, we all do. But you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
you don't really, you're not one to really post a lot of selfies of you or what you're doing on the weekends, personal life. And I don't blame you. So what we're gonna do is I have like questions for you here.
This is gonna be fun.
And these are just to kind of get to know you a bit more. But these are like rapid fire questions in a way, a little bit. Okay. What movie scared you as a kid?
Scared me? Geez, I don't know.
All right, we'll come back to it.
That's a tough one.
I
don't even know. I don't know. Yeah,
We'll pass.
I'll pass. I don't know what scared me. I'm trying to think. A movie that scared me? Like, what kind of scare?
Are you guys seriously listening to this?
What?
There's only one kind of scare. Like, scared.
Like what? Like a
you're
monster's going to
little.
come out of my bed and kill me? Or
No,
like
it scared you when you were little. I'm not talking about last week. Like, when you were little. Do you remember?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't think there was a movie that ever scared me.
I'm going to ask your mom. I bet you she'll have
might
like
know.
4.
I don't know.
All right, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
What would the world be like if it was filled with male copies of you?
Perfect. I mean, I don't know how that's a question. It would be a utopia. Really?
Oh my God.
I think that's obvious.
Would you rather lose the ability to lie or believe everything you're told?
Lose the ability to lie or believe everything I'm told? Would I choice?
Yes.
I don't want to believe everything I'm told because you can't. So that's my answer.
You'd rather lose the ability to lie. So you'd
Yes.
always tell the truth no matter what. Okay. How do you handle people you don't like?
Well, that's a tough one. Now, when you say people, in which context? In a personal context, like outside of here, or
Personal.
personal? You just don't deal with them.
Okay.
That's easy.
Toilet paper, over or under?
Always over. Come on. Let me tell you something. Hold on. I'm
Here
going to
we
tell you why you go. This is why you go over. Because one, I don't get under. I just don't get it. But over, you got speed. You got momentum working with you. You can bam, bam. You could do some power ripping when you're, like 2, 3, 4 poops deep. You want to be able to work quick through that. You got stuff to do during the day.
You asked. Don't look at him. What did you expect?
Yeah.
Would you rather begin every sentence with "Hey, idiot," or end every sentence with "Haha, I was just kidding"?
Oh, hey, idiot. Dummy. I like dummy. Good dummy. Can I play an idiot for dummy?
Yeah, sure, dummy.
You're a dummy.
Give me a sentence in Spanish.
¿De qué quieres?
Muy bien. A
Gracias.
sentence in German.
Oh boy, hold on, I gotta think. I gotta switch language. It's weird, you gotta
Yes,
switch
yes,
language.
I know.
I remember one time down at Bronx Barbell, Waldo was saying, he's like, yo, when you hear Spanish people talk, when you think it in English, it's like sounds like a mariachi band. But then you gotta listen to it. Yeah, he said that. And Carlos and Carlos and Adam were looking at him like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, yo, you gotta listen to that. It was so funny. Ich bin perfect.
What does that mean?
I'm perfect.
Oh, God. Would you have a...
Actually, hold on. Deine Augen funkeln wie 1,000 Sterne.
What does that mean?
Your eyes look like 1,000 stars.
Oh, did you guys hear that? Oh, my God. Throw up. Would you rather have a missing finger or an extra toe?
Extra toe.
Why?
Because I need my fingers.
Would you rather be hairy or completely bald?
Oh, completely. Wait, hold on. Like bald in my head too?
Yes.
What kind of hairy? Like
Hair,
someone from Greece type of hairy?
yeah, like mucho pelo.
Yeah, I'd rather be bald.
Okay. Would you rather be 4'5" or 7'7"?
4'5" or 7'7"? 4'5".
Okay. In one sentence, how would you sum up the internet?
Amazing. Yeah. Incredible, in fact.
Yeah. And he's whispering porn behind his camera.
Not.
I'm just not you.
Actually, Mr. Smith is. Yeah, no, I'm telling you, memes, and the ability to learn things.
Would
Do you know the amount? Okay, here's something. Fun fact. Before bed at nights, I don't know why, I'll get a kick and I'll just start researching pro wrestlers from the 80s.
Yes, you did
Yeah,
mention that.
I know. I'll just start doing that. So that's the great thing about the internet.
Would you rather guarantee $100,000 or 50-50 chance for $1 million?
100,000.
Would you rather...
Because you can make $1 million with that much quicker than a chance of 0.
Would you rather age from the neck up or the neck down?
I just don't age, so I don't have to worry about that.
Answer the question.
Age it from the neck up or neck down?
Yeah, if you had a choice.
I guess neck up, because they say men get sexier as they get older. So that's just going to continue to work in my favor.
Would you rather never be stuck in traffic again or never get a cold?
Well, considering it seems like I'm sick all the time lately, I'd rather never get a cold. The traffic I could handle. I could zone out or something.
And I think that's it. That is it for the rapid fire question round of personal questions.
Oh, I like that. That was fun.
Yeah.
What else you got?
That's it.
Oh,
That's it for now, guys. Yeah, I hope you guys... That's it. Did we cut it off?
Yeah.
I did not cut it off.
Oh,
It's still going.
All right.
Okay.
Wrap it up.
All right.
Well, that being said,
Well, thank you for having me.
thank you for having me on No Traps, No Glory.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Anything coming up for 2019?
Well, yeah, there are a few things coming up. We're going to be hosting an in-house competition for all of our newer lifters here. That'll be at the end of February. I believe the last weekend of February is what we're aiming for, so we got to get a sanction for that. So that should be good. Some new blood on the platform, and even get anyone who wants to compete here to do so. She's going to compete, so everyone encourage her and be positive and uplifting. And then I'll take photos with her camera because we know I do a great job with that. Let me tell you, everyone, I took a great photograph of her. Multiple photos. Every photograph I took of her was awesome at her house. But let's see, we're going to be doing that in February. We'll be at Junior Nationals with a lifter or two. Then...
Judging course? Are we doing that stuff?
Oh, yes, I forgot about that. Thank you for telling. See, that's why he's our venerable producer. Also, for everybody interested, in January, the end of January, we're going to be doing a referees course. Yes, national referee, physical therapist, Beth Terranova will be conducting that. So we'll start making that information available to everybody so you can get your referee understanding down. It should be interesting. I'm not sure what she's going to go over at all. But Red Light Beth will be helping everybody learn what it takes to give people red lights.
And then Masters Nationals.
Masters Nationals will be out in Salt Lake, while simultaneously, hopefully, our Canadian lifter qualifies for provincial championships.
Nice. Okay.
And then, I won't be able to go to that, I don't think, because it's going to be the same weekend as Masters. So I'll have to organize that, but she'll be competing then. And what do we have beyond that? Beyond that, Klokov will be back in June.
Ooh.
Uncle Dimitri. So that'll be good to have him back. Hopefully the IWF stops prodding every possible blood sample that they have and finding everyone positive that they don't like. So hopefully he'll stay off that list. And yeah.
Okay.
What about jerking 160?
I got to jerk 160 once my back gets a little bit better. So I plan to I'm going to compete in June myself.
Ooh,
that's my
okay.
plan right now. So I got to step it up. Got to get healthy and then
No more
make some good
traveling,
lifts.
no more big traveling.
No, there's
right?
no big travel for a long while. So I'll be grounded. Watch all of a sudden I'm going everywhere and got to go all these other random places. I'm like, oh, until March. But Salt Lake's nice. That was a good
It's
time.
not like Thailand.
No, Thailand's way too far. So I'll be stateside, so everyone can rest assured. And then who's saying something about September? Oh, the American Open's 3 Series in September. I'd like to look to take some people
try
to
to
that.
come-
yeah,
Oh,
that might be fun to go to. So
All
we'll
right.
see about that.
All right, nice.
Masters Worlds in August.
Oh, I forgot about that too. Masters Worlds
Where's
at the end
that?
of August. That's in Montreal.
Oh, that's
Not
right.
too far. That'd
It's
be
in
only like an
Canada.
hour flight. Yeah. So
Something else is going around that same time too, or close by. Is it Pan Am's? I don't
Pan Am-
remember.
June.
Yeah.
Okay.
June, I believe.
Orlando, is it?
I don't know. Might be.
Orlando last year.
Yeah, it was last year. It's Orlando. This year, I'm not sure where, but it should be good. The next
Okay.
year should unfold to be an interesting and fun year. This year was. Yeah, this will be the last podcast. I'm sorry, I just realized the last podcast of 2018. That's very exciting.
Might be the first of 2019, depending on the editing.
Well, the last podcast in 2018 is very exciting. So, I'd like to say with that, it's been a great year. Everyone's
It has.
done very well. I mean, it went all over the place. We traveled. We met wonderful people. I couldn't have asked for a better year. Never would have thought it'd be like this, but it was great. So I just got to keep the momentum going.
I agree. Yes.
We'll see what next year brings for myself and for you. What do you have planned?
Some traveling.
Yeah, where are you going to
Yeah,
go? Which events? Which big events? Because I know
Probably
you go to
Youth
the large
Worlds.
ones. Where's that?
That's
That's in Las Vegas,
it's
isn't
in
it?
Vegas and National University Nationals are the same. It's like the same. I guess
Oh,
the
they're doing
same-
both
the
together?
same- Together.
Oh,
I think.
interesting.
So, and something else too. There's like
Yeah,
three
the Las
things.
Vegas Invitational. That's an
Maybe-
international
yes.
bronze level Olympic qualifier.
That's
event.
right. So that'll be a big one. Masters, I don't know yet, and Arnold, I don't know because it's close to.
We have room in the house in Masters.
I know.
A beautiful
Facebook.
Victorian, correct?
I don't.
Or maybe perhaps a Tudor.
Because I count beds, that's all
I do love old
That's
houses. I'm quite a fan of Victorian style. Tudors
yeah?
are nice, but Victorian style I enjoy. Yes.
And then that's it. And then Worlds again,
Okay.
and then we'll see.
That's going to be in
between.
Thailand.
That's in Thailand.
That's a far trip.
in September. It's earlier this year.
Oh, really? I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you could pick up some lady boys while you're over there. They're known for that.
Yes, I know.
So bring a couple back.
It'll be good. But thank you guys for watching or listening, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss 2019's episode, which would be episode 8.
Episode 8 coming up. So, Viv, I thank you for having
Thank you for
me on No Traps, No Glory.
on your show.
Thank you for that.
Bye, guys.
Also,
Yes.
wait,
Oh,
hold on.
sorry,
We're not
sorry,
done. I gotta
sorry.
help round out this close. Come on, you could. So I'd like to thank everybody for a great year, everyone for competing so well last weekend. As well, our venerable producer, I'd like to thank him for all of his efforts and delicious beverages. He gave a thumbs up, SoundCloud people. And we look forward to seeing everyone next time and everyone listening to us. So until then,
Adios.
farewell.